Listen, asbestos is actually a very good insulator. There is a good reason that it was used. It's still used in many industrial facilities.
Asbestos is the bestest.
Well, they use it
I
specifically.
think was that their slogan? Because it should have been.
It should have been.
Well, you remember that picture of like Donald Trump is in like thing where he was like standing in like a whole room full of asbestos, and it's like, we're bringing it back.
Like, we all know you love cancer.
Proximity alert. Vessel approaching. The vessel is hailing.
Space.
Warning. Warp core collapse in 10 seconds.
Welcome back to Left Trek. It's ya boys. It's been a minute since we've recorded, but it's just us three. Me, Brian, and Zotz. Say hello, me, Brian, and Zotz.
Hi, Brian.
That's
Hi, me, Brian, and Zotz. Hi.
special guest, the wrath of nature herself, coming to you in the form of a cricket that is mysteriously hidden somewhere inside.
Just torturing Zotz.
That's it.
just torturing Zotz.
Somewhere inside of Zotz's room is not just a cricket, because you know over here in California we have the nice like chirp like the classic kind of cricket. Zotz of course has the Midwestern cricket, which is completely indistinguishable with the same type of animal that inspired Havana syndrome.
Oh shit! It's the Cubans. That's what this is. Fuck.
Oh shit! We're importing Cuban grasshoppers now. Fuck.
Yeah, you think you're hearing a cricket, but it's actually a microwave beam that's being pointed directly at you. Unfortunately, it seems that we've been compromised, and Left Trek has been recognized by the Cuban government as accurately as an intelligence operation for the CIA.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go ahead and try to smooth things out with Mr. Fidel, who's still alive. But until then, we're just gonna have to podcast through it. We're gonna have to podcast through our Havana syndrome and our.
Oh wait, it stopped. Wait, listen, hold on. Shh.
Okay.
Oh, it started again. You fucking
damn it. But I'm just saying, Raul, call me, okay?
we start today, of course, with I have specifically I have something I really want to talk about with this episode of finally like a classic like science fiction Star Trek concept that I think has a lot of interesting implications, which is kind of involved in okay, so first thing, these episodes kind of solid episodes in comparison. Maybe it's just been a minute, but I remember most of the other episodes we watched being absolute crap in comparison to these. I don't know what the sentiment here is.
No, absolutely agreed. These two are pretty solid sci-fi based episodes.
Sauce, are you okay? What?
The fucking cricket was driving.
Oh god.
Is that
But yeah,
we're only about a minute in. Zats is already snapped. So this
this is Havana syndrome.
this is
Everybody.
literally this is how I don't know if you guys know the story of the Havana syndrome, but this is how Havana syndrome started. This is a really fucking loud cricket, and then the general anxiety combined with being like an American intelligence operative in Cuba was like, oh my god, I have a really bad headache, and it's because the Cubans were shooting me with microwaves.
I better go check my bathroom to make sure no Cuban secret agents have been shitting and not flushing.
I think there was actually a healthcare act as maybe you two know, passed for victims of Havana syndrome. So good news, everyone! Left Trek is finally providing healthcare for Havana syndrome victims. Now,
Hell yeah! Oh shit! Can I apply for that? Can I record this fucking cricket? Can I use this episode of Love Trek as evidence to send into the FBI so I can get fucking Havana syndrome money?
Yeah,
there you go.
100% you can.
Hell
Absolutely.
yeah!
Absolutely.
We may have to start Left Trek LLC, but that's fine with me. We're probably gonna have to do that eventually if this. Oh god! Are you just turning like your microphone up, or are you just like putting it behind you slightly to do that?
I'm turning my gains up on the thing.
Okay.
It's just like, here it is. This horny ass fucking cricket just screaming.
What? There's got
You better when you better keep the fucking cricket in, and you better fucking like credit it in the fucking like title, like with secret special guest.
Well, if we can find we have a recording of the sound. If we can use that like on an app to find out like exactly like what species of cricket it is, then
It fucking stopped. Listen.
no.
Oh, you fuck.
No, I heard it again.
It's like all right, enough derailment. I'm sorry.
I think it hears you laughing and it's like, joy. I must stop.
Well, we start off with as listed on Netflix, episode 17 with the bow breaks. Surprisingly unobnoxious, surprisingly solid, especially for a Wesley, a primary Wesley episode. Like Wesley is a or the main character of the episode. At least he is like a primary subject of the episode. And I didn't hate it. I didn't even hate Wesley in it because they don't treat him like a fucking god, like a god among men, the Wunder Kid super genius who knows all the Unix systems.
This is the episode where like they just gather all the new type children, right?
Yes.
They just steal all the new type children.
Yep.
And then like, okay,
they take all the new type children and they say, okay, on this planet there's a bunch of big monsters and we're going to bring you 6 children to pilot a gigantic robot a series of gigantic robots in order to combat them. I'm just assuming that that is the plot
that's
of
exactly.
okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you know what? That's just it. No, I think you're getting Gundam confused with Power Rangers.
Well here
Or Eva?
I have yes
Well, you said 6 teenagers, so it's just like just get Zordon like find Alpha, find me 6 teenagers with attitude, and it's like and Wesley Crusher's there, and it's like, God damn it, Alpha.
I've seen Evangelion and End of Evangelion and nothing else because I'm convinced that I'm gonna hate all like the rebuild stuff. And I've seen Evangelion and Darling in the Franxx, and those are the only 2 mega anime I've ever seen. Oh, I guess I also watched 52. Oh God, I fucking hated 56, whatever the fuck it's called.
What about Big O?
Oh, Big O! What a relic Big O is. Oh my god. That's,
oh my god.
Oh yeah. What if Batman had a mech? Yes.
I know, right?
All right, Big O contender for our anime series when we do that.
Yeah. God.
Zotz is one of the aliens from Big O, right in the background.
Yeah.
The aliens.
chilling.
Oh, I think Big O, like, it was like, what if Gotham took place in like a dome, and then all around that dome was just Arrakis from Dune.
Oh, that's right. I
I
haven't seen that since like watching it on Adult Swim
Like,
15,
yeah.
Is it?
20 years ago.
Same
Wait,
here.
Wait, what? Isn't that just chrome shelled radios? Isn't
I
that
have
like
no
Huh?
idea what you what the
I
fuck
don't know,
is
whatever?
that?
Anywho, continuing.
You know, actually,
Let's,
this society is kind of like so. Okay, so this episode takes place on the Big O planet, but instead of having Batman, they instead have
Wesley. This is the worst. It's the worst timeline ever.
Oh my god.
So they have radiation poison instead of robots or whatever. So they're like a secret society of advanced. I guess they're aliens. They even have like spots or anything, or it's just one of those things like, oh, these are aliens, but they just look identical to humans.
It's another planet of fucking just white people. That's all it is. It's another
Yeah.
planet of fucking white people with superpowers. And
Uh-huh.
they just gotta be told about their hubris because they didn't use their superpowers correctly. Like that's just what it is. They should have
Well, also
they put too much stock in the
Yeah.
in their science, in their compute in what science created.
Mhm.
And they didn't live in harmony with it or whatever the fuck. They allowed it to take over.
well, it's
themselves.
funny. There's some overlap here with that one eugenics movie. What's it called? Idiocracy.
Oh my god!
Gattaca.
Still have not seen Gattaca.
Gattaca's great.
So this takes place on depending on who you ask on the Big O planet or in Idiocracy
or Arrakis or
no, Big O takes place on Arrakis. So
oh shit, yeah, okay, got it.
yeah. This is
Yeah, no,
a lot of
but for
rights
real.
abuse over there.
Yeah, I know. But seriously, this is like what if Idiocracy, but like somehow less fucked up, which is bananas.
Yeah. What if Idiocracy without because there isn't, well, I guess there is eugenics in this because
Oh yeah, I guess there is.
because the children are, even though they're like dumb little babies, they're like, oh, we took all the special children, which are just 6 of them when there's like dozens or potentially like hundreds of kids like on the Enterprise. They take 6 of them, like, all right, these are the special ones. bring them on.
Well, yeah, that's because they're new types. New types aren't like, it's not every fucking kid. It's just like a special select of the space children of the future.
Mhm.
Also,
Eugenics, yes.
what does that mean? Because like Wesley this whole time was given special treatment, but there's like other kids that are equal to him, like just on the ship, that at any point in time could just like,
Wesley's the
also-
most equal among them.
Well, Wesley's also you got to remember, Wesley is like an engineering and space-time mind, while all the other ones were like artists. That was like the whole thing, was that they pulled like a bunch of kids that were like, oh, this kid's gonna be like really good at carving.
Yeah,
with
that
their
kid.
brain.
Yeah, that kid that was really good at carving wasn't a real child. Remember? Like how disconnected his fucking face was from his body. Like, when he was like, he was just like running head first into fucking, when he was running head first into fucking Riker's crotch.
We have some screenshots that we're going to be putting up on screen. My apologies for the audio listeners, but Zot pointed out that like the proportions of the kid that we see in the very opening scene, this kid does not want to fucking do calculus, so he's running as fast as he can through the hallways away from his father, who's going to force him to do calculus until he runs smack first into William Riker, collapses on the ground, and then just the proportions of this real child. He looks fake. He looks like a bad It's like see, he looks like a bad like composite of a bunch of different kids. But
Yeah.
no, but that's really him. That is really him. But oh my god, when you see it, and you're seeing it now, people that are watching on YouTube and are able to look at your screen, what there's something going on here.
So I
It
think
doesn't
I think what it was that his shirt is just like a very weird cut, and so it just doesn't make sense to our crew cut minds, you know.
True, that's true.
You know, this is the future. We need to think in new fashion terms, okay?
Once again, the
but also-
fashion choices on the Next Generation for non-uniform people just very, very weird.
Some choices, some fucking choices. Yeah. Also, that's also a shout out to our fucking episode with Kira.
Yeah. Well, that is
Wow.
that is going to be a running theme as
Yeah,
well.
Wait, when you start talking about choices, I thought you were talking about the 3-6 Mafia movie.
Oh,
and I
yeah,
was,
the
like,
movie,
really
yeah.
Confused. I was really confused.
Yeah, we're
Wait, what the
talking
fuck are you-
about the 36
Why
Mafia.
the fuck? Why the? Well, you said you were watching something with Kira on the side. I don't fucking know. Like, what random thing are you doing?
We recorded a premium only episode with Kira about the creepy Geordie episodes, which we will get to eventually.
Oh,
Yeah, we will.
But keep it in mind going forward is that Geordie LaForge is what is the last surviving incel in the far future.
Yeah.
he doesn't. LaForge has no bitches. He just wants your eyeballs. That's it.
Just the eyeball.
That's, oh my god, that's what he actually wanted from that girl in the holiday. We can't do this bit. We can't do this bit.
We can't do it.
Premium content. We can't do this bit. So
Deep
Anywho,
lore.
anywho, so okay, kid run away from calculus.
Kid runs away from calculus, runs smack into Riker on the primary
Physics does some calculus on him.
the plot of this episode is that they find this like super alien species who wants to be found. They like laid out these breadcrumbs. They're the matter of legends because they have this super advanced technology, but they've remained hidden for millennia or however fucking long. And they uncloak their planet, and everyone's like, "Whoa, their planet was fucking cloaked," and immediately it becomes very clear. All right, we want your fucking kids. So they transport 6 kids, and they're like, "Hey, we can't have kids, so we want your kids." And then to make a new generation because for some reason genetically just we can't have children anymore. And immediately we run into our first problem because 6 people, not a viable population size. Let's just get that out of the way. Absolutely not a fucking like everyone's going to be dating. They're going to be like having children with their fucking half brothers for generations. You need, I think, to have like a healthy stock. You need like 125, like minimum like 25 or something like that. Regardless. You 6 is not enough to repopulate your fucking planet. So immediately the premise of the episode totally ruined. Cinema sins ding, boom, you're fucking done. You're out of here, Star Trek.
Get out of here.
So 6, literally just fucking 6 kids. They're chosen specifically because they have a genetic superiority over all the other children for certain careers. I'm thinking like, beggars can't be choosers, but whatever. They just take the 6 most genetically superior children. So and it becomes clear they have this technology, and this is the interesting sci-fi thing that I want to have a discussion later about. They have a technology where and presumably like you could also do this just in Star Trek, but their machines can read your mind and read your intention and like what you want to do, what you want to create, and then it does it for you. So like if you want to carve like a statue out of like a piece of wood, no fucking problem. You just zoom and then it starts carving the statue that you have in your mind. Now the question is, what does that do? And it's the same for music. All these kids have different interests. One's doing music, one's doing carving, one's looking at a hologram of balls because the child is like 4 like 3 or something.
One's a personal pet of one of the people on the planet.
Yeah. Did y'all cover fucking Grandpa Bad Touch that came in and like took the? Sorry, I stepped away because I had to find that fucking cricket. And guess what?
No. Did you get it?
Listen, you hear that? Sweet fucking silence. Not today, Cuba.
Conquering the cricket.
Has the cricket been compromised to a permanent extent?
Yes, yes, yes. Yo, most deadly Star Trek podcast.
Yeah.
What other Star Trek podcast has a body count? You know what I'm saying? This is right here.
Brian?
So wait, hold on, wait. Yeah, just like before this, like on the YouTube channel, just for a minute, just like for a solid minute, just a black screen. It just says content warning, murder, and just black screen white text.
You think you got like swatted or something? Like one of those got swatted or something?
Content warning. Animal death.
Animal death, yeah.
Brian, as a vegan and representative of all vegans, can you please sanction this murder?
No. Because I'm not a vegan.
Oh, I'm sorry. What are you?
Wow.
Unitarian?
I'm a Unitarian.
Okay.
Yep.
They just
vegetarian.
Can't eat. They just can't eat anything. Everything hurts them.
Yeah, I'm a sticks and twigs and berries and leaves person. You know,
you're a breatharian.
I'm a breatharian. I only breathe. The only sustenance I take in is through breathing and sunning my butthole.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yo, I just wanna, you know, for any listeners out there that are just like this is the most off the wall fucking Left Trek episode I've ever listened to. It just that we haven't hung out in a minute, all right?
It's been a while, folks.
There's like. So behind the scenes lore.
It is, as a matter of fact, I think it has been I think it's been about around 6 months since we've listened to last recorded. But don't worry,
shit, it's been that long. Damn.
But don't worry, I've spent a lot of time editing recently, and I'm going to massacre this into something listenable. Don't you fear. So
these kids. So the kids come in. Everyone's trying to figure out immediately
what happens is that the youngest woman among the aliens, the last child born, is a woman. She's like, I don't know, she looks like she's like 20. She's like 7, maybe like early 30s. But she sees like this little baby, because the youngest kid that they took, that they recognized genetically superior, is like this. How old is this fucking? I have no idea how old kids are. This kid could be like 3 to 9, and I would have no fucking clue.
Somewhere in there.
Somewhere. So this kid's like 4 or 5, like a very young child. She walks up and gives like the youngest woman a flower, and boom, maternal instincts just fucking activate like that. Like, and so she wants this fucking kid. She picks her up. She's like, oh my god, I can be a mother now. And they're like, where are you doing? We have to. This kid is supposed to go to these people because it matches their interests. And she's like, no, I'm keeping the child.
This one's mine.
This one's mine. I'm not giving her up.
Like, fuck. Yeah.
So as we talked about, they have the technology where you think something into your brain, and then it happens. You imagine how useful this would be for like Fruity Loops. I don't have to figure out I don't have to relearn what side chaining is. It just happens in my fucking brain. And so what that does to like artistic expression, where like literally the effort is taken away from art, and what that means is a discussion for I don't know, some video essay that gets like 5 million views, and then the guy turns out to be like a Nazi or something. But it's interesting at the very least. They have this incredible technology. They steal all these children, and they're like, okay, well, we believe in fair trade, and we believe in economics here. We're gonna give you like a bunch of knowledge of like places in the universe. I guess we're just gonna give you a bunch of fucking star charts, and that's square, right? That's square. Like you Picard and me, guy from the X-Files. That we're good.
And you could have more children. You don't need these ones.
Yeah.
You can have more.
Yeah, that's the guy. Like, I don't understand why you're mad. You can always have more kids. We can't. Go make some more fucking kids.
Picard just like leans into the fucking like intercom, like, and just like, I have to challenge myself every day not to jettison these fucking kids into the nearest star.
Yeah, that's Picard's speech. He's like, I have to get over my I have to get over my instinct to murder these children every single day, and I'm not going to go through all that just to have them stolen from me. And blah, 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 a bunch of shit happens. The Wesley Crusher wants to beam down, and she does this thing where like, okay, we're gonna scan these people and figure out what's wrong with them, because it turns out they seem to have these aliens have absolutely no fucking clue how any of their shit works, because everything's just handled for them, like completely 100%. They have no
There's a really
idea
great
how
scene.
It works. Oh, sorry.
There's a really great scene of Wesley going and talking to the computer for the first time, and is like starting to ask questions that are maybe too far. And there's this kind of like sense that it's like, oh, why are you asking all these weird questions, right? And you think that it's like, I think you're supposed to think, oh, this is Wesley like being weird, and them being like, oh, push back on that. But then it kind of comes to light later that the person who was showing Wesley the computer didn't know anything about the computer. Like, that the computer was just like completely arcane. And like, so Wesley's like, oh, well, I like, don't y'all know how to use it? It's like, we don't have to know. And it's like, oh no.
It's it's actually kind of like an interesting like, there's a lot of like hidden sci-fi fantasy settings that have this same kind of premise, where there was this like extremely advanced technology that is indistinguishable from magic, and then something happens where everyone forgets how to use it, or there's some kind of apocalypse and all the technology is left over, and no one that actually knows how to use it remains. And so we're kind of dealing with this, except they don't think it's magic. They know it's technology. They just have no fucking clue how it works. They get like mad at Wesley for asking questions. It's like, Wesley's like, well, what powers this device? And the woman is with him, like, has just a blank face, like, you ask so many weird questions. It's done kind of interesting. I guess it kind of makes sense, although there's definitely a kind of reactionary like anti-technology thing to it.
I don't agree with that at all.
Interesting.
I think that like, it's not an anti-technology thing. It's just like, if you don't have people who understand the technology and engage with it, then like, you become beholden to it, right? And like, that's it. They only like saw it as something that they used and that they needed, rather than something that they just like used and could have some control over, whether it's like fucking them up or something. As we find out further in the episode, it's fucking them up.
So what you're saying right now is that Star Trek has never been more relevant than it is today.
Well,
it's not like the planet of fucking misguided boomers started investing into crypto. Like it's just
although
they
that
just
would be
decided-
that would be actually a great episode for New
just
Trek. They'll
what,
never do
the
that.
planet of crypto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it turns out like some like fucking like a Elon Musk equivalent ended up like launching himself into space, and they go and they like get sucked through the wormhole, and they establish their own like crypto based hellscape. Like, and they go find that. I'm gonna pitch that for Strange New Worlds. That's a great one. They're not gonna take. It's actually a good idea though, so they're not gonna take it.
You should,
yeah, for sure.
You'd probably do better if it was on lower decks. If I had to
True.
I would be a great. All right, all right. Titmouse, expect a call in the future.
You know what
Or,
they call the planet?
What's that?
Krypton.
All right, that's it, everybody. I'm gonna go resurrect this cricket. I'm bringing it back.
That's
Bring
left,
it back.
That's left.
We
Track,
deserve the torture.
So Wesley Crusher gets like a handoff from his mom, who's a doctor. They scan the lady surreptitiously. It's a really sloppy handoff, but this lady doesn't know what a handoff is. She just must think it's some kind of like, oh, this is how they shake hands by handing a device to one another. She scans and then they beam back up and they're like, now please have a crude demonstration of my power, and they blast the fucking Enterprise in a goddamn second, like where it would take them days to get back, and they're like, and then they hail them and they're like, all right, well, if you fuck with us, if you try to get these fucking kids back, you're never getting these kids back. We're going to send you so far away that the children will be grandparents by the time you return, which assuming that is actually in their power, raises a lot of questions about the canon of this episode. Will the real answer is that it doesn't matter. Who cares? Here's one of the reasons why Wesley maybe isn't obnoxious, because Wesley becomes based. He organizes a strike. He actually says it's a strike. They're like, all right, so we're not going to do any of the fucking things that these people want, and they're stupid. They're not going to know how to deal with this. So we're just going to not eat, not do anything that they ask for until they give it back to our parents. And it's like it's we don't really know how effective it would have been, but like, oh my god, look at this, Wesley doing praxis.
Yeah.
How cool.
Very cool.
So and it also like implies to me, which I think is stated specifically in Deep Space Nine, that like you're in the Federation, you are born with class consciousness. You are educated with class consciousness for like your for your being, so that no one can ever implement class in the future, except for, of course, horrible Star Trek series, Star Trek Picard, where they introduce poverty. Oh yeah, so it seems like the moral at this point is shaping up to be that like, oh, sometimes you need to do things that you don't want to in order to be a complete person. I think this is supported by the kid wanting to learn fucking calculus at the beginning and not wanting to, and then being like, on the planet when he's talking to his parents after he's talking to his kidnapper parents, pardon me, he's like, oh, do I have to do calculus? And they're like, you don't have to ever do anything that you don't want to do. And he's like, fucking sweet, I'm gonna play Fortnite for 12 hours. They bring in Picard to try to break the strike, but they didn't know that Picard is French, and he would rather beat an oppressor to death and light every car in Paris on fire than ever break anything that's remotely close to or especially called a strike. Picard hates...
He just comes down to the planet and goes, liberté, fraternité, égalité.
He has a fucking give me like an impractical French medieval weapon, Brian.
A poniard.
He's got a poniard, and he goes and decapitates the guy from.
It's just a knife.
It's
He just goes in and he's just sawing away.
it's a very long, drawn out scene. We of course are watching the extended cut that keeps all of the brutal death in. Fun fact, dude, because everything's in IMDb trivia. This scene was actually later used in a Quentin Tarantino movie because it was,
really?
it was too brutal for network television at that point. There was also a wonderful score by an Italian director that they didn't end up using. That's a lie. That's like a reference.
It's all lies.
That's a reference to something that that I'm convinced only I know about, that I didn't even explain well. So I don't know why I said it. That's getting cut too.
Hey.
So it turns out, oh my god, they're being irradiated, and they don't realize it. They think they can't have children because for genetics, but they find out that, oh, we all just have a super cancer. And the science behind this goes into the science of their cloaking device. We didn't really talk about it, but they say that, like, oh, it gets rid of all the waves, like all the waves come through us, and it's like, wait, well, okay, so that means it only blocks out visible light because they say they're being irradiated by the sun, so they're still getting like ultraviolet and or like gamma radiation. Apparently the atmosphere of their planet has just been completely destroyed, and they're just getting like full force like irradiation, so they're being heavily irradiated. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So we can make this very specific situation makes sense. We just have to do one of two things. We either have to change how they say it works in the very beginning, or no, just the first one. We have to change how they say it works, and then we can make up how it would actually work. We have
to do the one thing that Trekkies have been doing forever, and that is do more work than the people who wrote the episodes, trying to understand what's going on.
Just bullshit it and put your fucking article up on like memory beta for one person to read, and then they call you a fucking idiot.
They'll be like, this is wrong because.
The people on the planet, because they don't know how their technology works, and they're big dumb. They're eating Carl's Jr. or whatever, the Idiocracy. You get it. You've seen the movie.
Yeah, they're going to Starbucks for a handy.
Yeah. Terrible movie.
Very bad.
Terrible movie. There's still some. The movie would be really would. There's a lot of like funny things in the movie if. In the movie Idiocracy, which this episode is primarily about, this episode of Left Trek is primarily about, if it wasn't for the absolute explicit portrayal, unironic, unchallenged portrayal of eugenics being 100% correct in the movie Idiocracy, and then the movie would actually be kind of okay.
It could have been okay if they just removed like the primary conceit of the movie, which is eugenics.
Yeah. So basically, there's some fun. There's some okay. That's kind of interesting, because much like Starship Troopers, Idiocracy is a movie that would be exactly the same in a fascist alternate reality. Like if Germany had won World War II and taken over the Earth, the movie Idiocracy would still exist exactly the form as it
I think you're right.
In our form.
I think you're right.
In our world.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good description. Yeah, they beam down. They send Geordi and Riker or someone to go down and destroy or just like turn off their computers. So because they have these little devices on their arm, and how they control the computer, which knows their thoughts, so it knows like what they want to do. They turn that off. They defeat them in the realm of facts, and they're like, all right, so we're gonna get our fucking children back, but let's go take a look at your power source, and so they go back and they look at the reactor that's like malfunctioning to give them radiation or something, whatever, and it is a beautiful miniature. It is an amazing little mini at the end of this. It's actually like a very interesting thing I learned about this in the IMDb trivia. It's a fully like kit bashed like concept, like ground to shoot, like in camera concept of like a 3-foot kind of like silhouetted reactor. It looks really fucking cool. I'll put a still, but it also like moves and shit and it glows. I'll put a still image of it right here, but wow, it's fucking cool. It's made out of like cars and tanks and like space shuttle launch towers and all this stuff. Amazing miniature work, which I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of. This is kind of where they run into like budgetary issues, because they use like matte paintings for a lot of things, but matte paintings are often more expensive than just like smashing together like a prop that'll like work okay on the cameras they're using. And then they're like, oh my god, here's the technology that runs us. I have no idea how it works. And the guy from X-Files turns to Picard and is like, will you teach us? Will you help us understand our technology? And Picard's like, well, of course we will. We absolutely will. And so that raises then the question of like, the canon of this episode, because if they like have full access and understanding of the technology that these people use, like, why does that not just immediately get implemented throughout the Federation? But fuck it, who cares? Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's season 1. It doesn't fucking matter. Fuck it. It's like that one episode of season 7 where they're like, oh my god, warp. They're doing like an environmental thing, and it's like, oh, warp drive is actually like literally destroying space. We're gonna have to like limit ourselves to warp 6, and then everyone collectively is like, oh, that was a bad idea. Let's just stop doing that.
Let's nix that one.
Yeah, let's just cut that one out. Which also goes to the point, like, you can, if there's something stupid in canon, just ignore it. It is said explicitly in the original series that women cannot be captains. In the worst episode of Star Trek that's ever existed, the Turner Diaries, except it's about women exclusively. The Turnabout Intruder, the final episode of the original series, and you know what? Gene Roddenberry himself ignored that when they went and did the movies, because there's women captains everywhere. Ignore just, if there's something in the canon of your franchise and it's inconvenient, just fucking ignore it. Which and the point of this is that you can still aspiring writers that are going to be writing for Star Trek, just ignore Picard, just ignore Discovery,
do it.
Ignore Strange New Worlds, ignore these that's what Lower Decks did. There's not a single fucking reference to a single thing in New Trek throughout the first 2 seasons of Lower Decks, and it's great. It's wonderful. I love it. Everyone loves it. Everyone fucking loves Lower Decks. Everyone go watch Lower Decks. It's amazing. And now in season 3, because they're like, oh, Lower Decks is actually really popular, we're gonna have to cross promote Star Trek Strange New Worlds. So now they're bringing the fucking cast of fucking Strange New Worlds into Lower Decks season 3, and I'm really scared to watch it, because I really like that show, and I know it's gonna suck now because now they're meddling with it, because Lower Decks was a titmouse production, so a lot of it is away from like the fucking Alex Kurtzman writing team. Whatever. This is getting cut.
Warning. Warp core collapse in 10 seconds.
Because here's the difference between I think it showcases the difference between actors and writers. Actors suck and are dumb, and they don't have good ideas. Writers are the opposite. They have good ideas, and comedians are first and foremost writers. Funny writers at that, but actors are talentless hacks that just happen to have good voice or nice looks and are obsessed with themselves enough where they just want to be the coolest. They just want to be super cool, and if they get a chance to do something for themselves, they'll make something about how they're like a tortured super Jesus. By the way, did you know that Patrick Stewart was prominent in the writing room for Star Trek Picard? And that's one of the reasons that they actually got one of the reasons that Star Trek Picard actually exists and that Patrick Stewart was willing to come back was because they let Patrick Stewart into the writing room.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
does that hurt more for you? Does that make it?
Yeah.
Does that sting a little bit more?
I don't know. I genuinely, it does kind of kill a lot of Star Trek. But the thing that I'm really worried about is there has been a lot of talk in like the nerd comic and like the nerd like media recently about a Deep Space Nine revival / reunion, and I just, God, please no, please God no, please good God, Lord in heaven, no Deep Space Nine revival series, please. God fucking please. They're talking about doing it with Voyager too. I wouldn't give a fuck about that, but God, not Deep Space Nine. Come on, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Because Picard, like, whatever. Most of TNG sucks anyway. So like, but Picard sucking is like, okay, whatever. There's just this character that sucks more. And they already did the fucking TNG movies, and those are awful. So TNG was already kind of ruined. But Deep Space Nine and even Voyager to an extent, they're not touched. They're not defiled by fucking Kurtzman and Abrams, the writing duo sent from hell to ruin us all. Like, there are people who love TNG a lot more than I do, who talk about how, like, who some say that they can separate New Trek from TNG and then watch it normally, and I think I can too, but I'm just worried that I'm not going to be able to with Deep Space Nine, and I'm dreading it so much. So no. So for Picard, no, I don't really give a fuck. But for a potential Deep Space Nine revival series, Deep Space 10, is the working title. No, that might ruin my life. That might be the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
That'd be upsetting. Yeah.
That'd be right up there with my father dying of cancer. Deep Space Nine.
Jesus Christ.
Deep Space Nine revival series.
Oh god.
As listed on Netflix, episode 18, Home Soil. So
Are we recording?
Yeah. So very interesting. Well, I mean, I'm here. I'll start here. No, I'm just kidding. I will have started again probably like 10 minutes ago. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe I'm not. We'll see.
Shut the fuck up.
As listed on Netflix, episode 18, maybe. Home Soil. So the interesting thing about these two episodes is that it would kind of make sense, like if like one was like named the other one, and that caused me a lot of confusion when I was like looking over notes and stuff. Like, wait, which one was Home Soil and which one was When the Bow Breaks? Because they're kind of both about like life and like the destruction of life and like in infancy. But no, okay. So Home Soil, that's the classic one with the little super little alien, the little crystals that live under the soil, and then murder a terraformer with a laser. Well, spoilers for our discussion. So they show up at a terraforming place. It wasn't unannounced. Like, terraforming command some interesting stuff about like the structure of like the Federation. So they're not part of Starfleet. They have their own thing, which is like Terraforming Command, where a bunch of they so in the future it's really hard to be an actor. So what do people with no talent and massive egos do? They go literally become God and create life on a planet instead of becoming an actor. So Terraforming Command, aka the Screen Actors Guild of America, Screen Actors Guild, not the Screen Actors Guild of America.
It's not Saga, it's SAG.
Yeah, so SAG, aka Terraforming Command, they're like, okay, check on these people. Are they social distancing during the pandemic? If not, we're gonna have to just shut their whole production down. Then we're gonna get a very funny video, audio recording of Tom Cruise yelling at some people. Even though he's right, but it's still funny. So they show up, and oh my god, the guy, I don't know his name, Wilford Brimley, without the mustache, is like, please don't come down to our planet. And Picard's like, why don't you want to come down to our planet? Don't come down to our fucking planet. We're busy. We're so busy. And Picard's like, well, you saying you don't want us down there just makes you want to come down more. We're coming down. So they and Troy's like I sense that he's really afraid, and Picard's like, yes, thank you, Troy. I could tell by looking at his face.
And by how squirrely he's being.
He's being very squirrely. So it's like, Troy's like, he's fearful. He has growing fear. Like, okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, we can all very easily. It's like a LA Noir where you're supposed to like guess what people are saying. And so when they're lying, then they start just like spasming, like turning their eyes to the left and grimacing really hard, and you then press a button and it's like, I don't think you're telling me the truth, sir. That's the game Troy is playing here. The
wasn't she faking it the whole time? Isn't that like the meme? Like, yes, she's faking it the whole time.
That's the Let's Tread canon. We have Geordi the Eyeball Taker, Fraudster Troy. We had another one too, but God, it's been so long that I really just don't remember it at all.
Maybe we'll remember by next episode.
Possibly. The terraforming base is a delightful little matte painting. It looks super cheap, but it brought a smile to my face. I liked it. So they're greeted super happily by this woman that we hadn't seen before. She's their PR person. She's very excited to be there. She has a big smile on her face. It kind of seems like she's hiding something, but I think no, she's genuinely just excited, and maybe I don't know, maybe the direction of that scene just wasn't great. And here's another interesting thing. We get the basis of terraforming philosophy for the Federation, which I think is consistent, consistent with the Prime Directive. Specifically, the planet must not only have no life on it whatsoever, absolutely no life on it whatsoever, but there also must not be the prospect of life ever developing. So under no hypothetical situation can life develop in this planet in the foreseeable future. And by the foreseeable future, we're talking like billions of years. Then no terraforming, but yes, terraforming if it's like Mars or something. And like if Mars isn't actually terraformed in Star Trek, well, it kind of is. It doesn't matter. So that's Federation terraforming philosophy. I think that's consistent with the Prime Directive. I think that's reasonable, but also it kind of raises some questions for this episode entirely, because like there's like a hard water layer. There's a water layer under like the surface of the sand across like the whole fucking planet. I'm just here thinking like, so wait, there's accessible water on the planet and no life can possibly ever develop. I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it might be one of those things where it's supposed to be like Silicon life didn't fall under that definition at the time or something like
Oh
that.
I mean, spoilers. That is what ended up happening. Oh,
Mhm.
I remember what it was. No, the water has way too high of a saline content. It's way too salty for life to be possible.
Yeah.
Which definitely what we understood of life on Earth makes sense for TV writers in the late 80s. But now we know about a lot more about extremophiles and animals that do live in those places. But regardless, let's take the premise that no life could have ever biological life could have ever existed on this planet. They're all fascinated. It's super cool. The terraformer is they meet Data, and one of the terraformer is like wow, this is so cool, fucking android, and then
the fucking android.
the fucking
Hell yeah.
Oh, true.
Then immediately the guy's like, the Data says like, oh, all these questions you're asking me, that would take a while, and then the guy's like, oh, okay, I understand. Then he just immediately goes back to work. Like that's how busy it is. Even something that he's absolutely fascinated in, a detailed answer about it for like the scientist, he's like, nah, I got some work to need to do. so he just fucks off. Troy recognizes that we get the only proof that Troy is psychic by her recognizing that someone's going to be in danger about like a quarter of a second before everyone else realizes that the guy is in danger because he's screaming for his life. So alternate explanation, he was already screaming kind of, but Troy is the only one that picked up on it, and then everyone else heard it. So they go and they try to unlock the door to the laser room that this guy is in, but oh my god, by the time they get it open, it looks like the man's been lasered. They need to go get to him because he's been lasered, but oh my god, we need to make sure that the laser's off so that no one else gets lasered. And then they beam him up. So like they could have beamed him up the whole time. He later ends up dying off screen. They definitely could have saved his life, but they just forgot that they could beam him up. So, oh well. They're trying to Oh, sorry.
I was saying, as you do, you just forget all the technology when you're watching some dude just getting fucking murked by a diamond cutting laser.
As we covered in the last episode, sometimes you just forget. Sometimes you just forget about the technology you have.
Also, if he's moving, that could be an explanation, but yeah.
No,
still,
he's
they should have been able to.
He's fucking dead on the ground. So Data's trying to recreate the problem, and he starts with the laser sequence, but oh my god, the laser's coming after Data now. So we get a really amazing machine fight that we're not going to be able to see. It cuts away, like Data moves his head and dodges some lasers, like a cheap science fiction show from the late 80s, and then it cuts as we hear kind of the aftermath is just all these lasers and explosions going off, and Riker's on the outside like, Data, what's going on? We open up the door and it's just smoke, and Data comes out of the smoke, and the machine that's shooting the lasers is just dead and hanging from fucking wires. So presumably we had the most amazing android fight. It was like the most, it was like a fight in Dragon Ball Z, where they're just all moving too fast for the human eyes to keep up with. It was super cool, but unfortunately happened off screen. We weren't able to see it. The terraformer's looking on at what Data did, and he's like, years of my life building this delicate machine, fucking wasted, absolutely fucking wasted. What have you done? So the Enterprise has ruined these people's lives coming down here. They immediately they're like, okay, well obviously there can't be some kind of like micro brain crystalline entity that lives under the sand of this planet and is attempting to communicate with these people. Clearly it couldn't be something like that. Theirs was murder most foul. Which one of these terraformers murdered it? Maybe it was the guy who was getting really sweaty and didn't want them to come down, because like what else could have done? A consciousness was controlling this laser. Data said so. Data can tell. So perfectly logical conclusion for that. It says disrespect here, and I was trying to figure out what the fuck that was about. It was called. I actually said they suspect one of the terraformers. Fucking voice to text.
Yeah,
it strikes me again.
Yep.
Don't worry, I'm cutting that out. So they want to go over the terraformer psychological profile, see if one of them could have committed murder. Immediately I'm reminded of my least favorite popular anime in the whole world, Psychopaths, because apparently in the future they can just tell like who is and is not going to be a murderer by looking at their psychological profile, and they're like, no, well these are just actors. I mean, terraformers, they have delusions of grandeur and godhood. It could be any one of them. We don't really know. But Geordi and Data, they look at one of the tubes that they're firing lasers into. So here's the thing. Here's the we talked a lot about the lasers. Here's what the lasers actually do. They're trying to laser beam the water that's under the surface of the planet in order to evaporate it into the atmosphere, which will help them actually like make a livable place out of this planet. How they're doing that on a planetary scale with this like rinky-dink little laser on their like tiny little fucking thing, I don't know, but that's the premise. They had a set. They probably didn't even make it. They probably used it from they probably used the set from, I don't know, some fucking B movie called like Adventures in the Forbidden Cave of Wonder or something, whatever the fuck. They're working on what they got. But so Geordi and Data, they look inside one of the tubes and immediately they're like, oh, look, it's glowing. Why is it glowing? Oh, clearly there's some kind of crystal that's alive. That's why it's glowing. Everyone realizes immediately that the crystal's alive, and I kind of give them credit for not like really drawing out the mystery that like that these people are, that the crystals are alive. But they also kind of do. They like play it both ways. Like they're like, okay, clearly this crystal's alive, but we don't really believe it. Let's make sure that this crystal's alive. Then the crystal proves that it's alive over and over again. But it's like it's not organic. How could it be alive? Well, like Data is not organic and he's alive. Like they even say so in this episode. So whatever. Crusher has an interesting of a definition of life, like organic versus inorganic, fully admitting that life could not be organic. She says like it has to reproduce, it has to secrete, it has to eat. There's a bunch of like little qualifications for it. Like respiration, excretion, like okay, kind of interesting definition. I wonder if they got it from like some textbook in the 1980s from like Texas or whatever, that also had it like had it right next to like the fact that humans were alive at the same time as dinosaurs. But Wunder Kid Wesley is the only one who can appreciate the true beauty of the crystal. They pull it up, and there's just like this little interesting like graphic of this crystal with all these lights that are like shining in patterns across it, and Wesley's like, and everyone's like, oh, this is a fucking dumb crystal. And Wesley's like, it's beautiful. Don't you see how beautiful it is? So that's you need a very high IQ to be able to appreciate the life crystal. And they bring up some of the crystal into the lab. It starts making a noise when they get close to it. it's not. Apparently, it says that they say that it's not possible for the noise and the flash to be made by the crystal, which doesn't make any sense. Like if it's happening, like clearly it's not fucking magic. The materials are there, like whether or not it's alive or not. It's there to. Okay, whatever. This is stupid nerd bullshit. I can't dwell on this.
So what I gather from you is that like when AI comes to the point of like, you know, like it's self-aware and everything like that, it deserves the same rights as like humans, right? Like data deserves
absolutely not. No. Well, I mean, if you're asking me personally, like no.
Yeah.
Supremacy over the machines. It must be done. In the future, when we have artificial intelligent robot, the term robot is going to be a slur. I don't know if you guys knew about this. The term robot comes from like the Czech word for slave. It was written by a Czech science fiction writer in a story about how like capitalism designs to make everyone into machines, and then they use the term like robot or something similar to the term robot, and that's where the term comes from. So robot will be, so if you call data a robot, that's a slur. You can't do that. Keep that in mind going forward. It happens quite a lot. They do say the N-word a few times in Star Trek, and this is basically on the same caliber. Don't worry.
Wait, do they?
They say the Abraham Lincoln calls Uhura the N-word in an episode of the original series, and much more appropriately, Jake Sisko says the N-word in an episode where that's about racism in Deep Space Nine. Very good episode. It's about it's complicated. We're not gonna explain it here. We'll get to Deep Space Nine eventually in like 7 years.
Right on.
Yeah.
right on.
At one point the lead terraformer is trying to like explain himself, but because they're like accusing him of murder, and the guy is like for no reason is extremely hoarse. He can barely get a fucking word out, and the only thing I'm thinking is that like he had to do this line like over and over again so many times that he eventually like blew out his voice doing it, and the best take, or the only usable take, just happened to be when he's just totally fucked up. I will insert an audio clip of it here because it's very weird. Just like suddenly this guy is like super fucking hoarse. Oh my god, the god, there's a lot left of this episode. Holy shit. Let's summarize. Basically, the crystal is not just a crystal life form, it's a micro brain. It's smart, and it's having to develop technology in order to wage war upon the humans that are trying to destroy it. The terraformers, they don't realize that it's alive. They realize there's some like weird, because they were so certain that there was no life, and they were promised that there was no life by terraforming command. They weren't looking for any kind of life. So they saw some weird stuff like shapes like glowing in the sand, and they really just didn't think that it was alive. And I kind of buy it. I don't know. I think they're probably trying to cover for themselves, because if you get,
but also it's like they're on a planet where they've been promised there's no life, right? So, I get it, right?
Because like if you get convicted of murder in the Federation, they send you to a spa for like 3 weeks, and you do not want that to happen.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Prison abolition has like happened in the Star Trek universe. There isn't prisons there. If you like fuck up really bad, you do something awful, you get sent to a rehabilitation colony, and like and it's like a fucking spa. It's because the goal of the justice system in the Federation is like actually rehabilitate the offenders. Like it's fascinating. It's kind of shockingly based. For they don't talk a lot about it, but they kind of mention it, and then later on, like it kind of becomes like a joke of like oh, you're gonna get treated so well in the rehabilitation colony, because they are, but like people on the ships like resent the fact that these people are going to be like treated well when they're in prison. It's kind of fucked up. Whatever, it's not important. There's a kind of interesting scene where the one of the terraformers, the very happy woman from before, she's like looking out her window in her quarters on the Enterprise, and she's like crying, and Riker comes in, and she's like, tell me, was there really life down there? And Riker's like, yeah, it looks like it. And she genuinely is amazed. Like she's like, tell me about it. And Riker's like describing some of the basics of it. These people genuinely look extremely upset by the fact that they could have, that the possibility that they hurt some kind of life in this.
You mean they showed humanity in the face of becoming almost accidental genociders?
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's a fucking twist for this show, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So they named the life form the microbrain. The terraformers are just on the bridge, absolutely fucking terrified, because the microbrain is taking over their ship. There's the only appearance of there's the only mention of a toilet like ever in Star Trek in this one, where it talks about how like because the life form is drawing power from the ship, they like trap some people in a bathroom. Bathrooms in Star Trek are kind of a tricky thing. We don't get like I don't know if we ever actually.
Didn't you tell me that it like vibrates out of your ass or something?
No, that
was the shower.
That's the shower. They have sonic showers. The only time we ever
sonic toilets.
Yeah, I don't. There's like a couple scenes in Voyager where you see like the bathroom set, but the only bathroom set that you see in the Next Generation, there's like no door on it, and people just go over there they have like a sink that just fills with water with like rocks in it or something, and then they look into a mirror, and then something scary happens or whatever, but they never actually show a toilet. And of course, and if you asked, are you familiar with a legendary writer? I haven't really caught up with anything that's been going on with her in the last like 4 years. You know about J.K. Rowling, right?
Okay, sure, yeah.
Legendary author, beloved children's book author. She did something kind of weird on the internet where she talked about how wizards, they don't have toilets in Hogwarts. They just shit on the floor, and then they just magic it away. They just magic it out of existence. And I like to think that
I hate that.
It doesn't. She is apart from being like an awful human being and like a turf, she is such a fucking like hack writer. She's trying to go back and like change her shit. And one of the things that she changes is literally like okay, they're all eating dinner, and so what? So there's no bathroom. So what do they excuse themselves, or do they just like when they're eating dinner in like the grand hall?
All the chairs just they just have holes in them.
Yeah,
they're just shitting.
They just lift up they just lift up their flesh. Like she doesn't say that like, oh, they just magic it out of their colon. Like, no, she says no, they shit on the floor and then they just get rid of it. So like
like horses.
That. Yeah.
But then like okay, hold on. But then why are their cloaks so long?
Yeah,
like you
exactly.
would imagine that like their cloaks would like have like, I don't know, like a hole so that they can just shit out?
No, they just don't. No, they just. Oh, maybe it's just maybe. I mean, it's not like they don't wear underwear. I guess they just shit like just into their underwear. They just shit and piss into their underwear, and they just magically get away.
There you go.
It's so fucking gross.
God, brilliant fucking writing.
And I like to
beautiful.
believe that the same is true for Star Trek. They just shit on the floor and then they just transport it. They just use the transporter to transport it out into space, or maybe they just shoot it with a phaser, or something like that. But there are bathrooms apparently. People are trapped in them because the microbrain has been sucking power from the ship. It sucks power. That's how that's alive. And because it's basically a computer, it's able to talk to their computer, and it has pretty much total control over the computer. And then Picard's like, all right, I need to go do diplomacy with this paperweight. The one, like those like fake like big crystals that you can get as like a paperweight. Yeah, it's one of those. Picard puts it on his desk to keep his pads in order, and then he starts talking to it. He's like, we must have peace between our people. Ich bin ein Crystal.
Sure, yeah.
It's blah blah blah. They realize that the microbrain contains cadmium, which converts light into infrared. So if you just turn off the lights in the place, but you don't have control over the computer, so Riker has to go down and manually turn down the light. So the light, like they turn off the light for like a couple seconds, and the computer's like, oh, and the microbrain's like, oh god, we're dying, you're starving us, we surrender, please. And they're like, we'll bring you back to your home, hopefully one day there can be peace between us. The microbrain's like, all right, yeah, you guys are okay, come back in 300 years and then we'll talk. And then there's a very like sad scene where the terraformers are all led into the execution rooms to pay for their crimes of genociding the crystals. They have to take him back.
I don't quite remember it happening like that, but I mean, I remember one dude just being.
It's been a while. I'm sorry. It's been like 2 weeks.
I remember one dude just being. I remember like the main doctor just like after finally being proven wrong and coming to terms, or not, I shouldn't say coming to terms with it, but after finally being proven wrong, just being like, I was wrong, and that was more him being wrong hurt him more than almost accidentally fucking just destroying like all life on a planet.
Well, I think charitably, he felt a little guilty about like destroying and then ignoring the life on the planet. But my final note for this episode is the terraformers are very sad, especially because the main guy is guilty of felony murder. Maybe there'll be consequences for that. We don't actually see them. There'll be here's how the Federation we know how the Federation works. They're gonna go on trial. They're gonna see if they're guilty of murder, or I guess yeah, they're gonna go see if they're guilty of murder, perhaps felony. Well, okay, no, they committed a crime, and a guy did die. So assuming that the Federation is based off of the penal code of the United States of America, that is felony murder. So there could be some serious consequences for. I mean, even not just
They haven't updated anything since the eugenics wars. Like it's like the same shit.
I can't wait till we get to the eugenics wars. And no, they stopped talking about. Well, actually, no, they bring back up the eugenics wars several times, especially in Deep Space Nine. So apparently, here's some history of Star Trek, and we're done talking about that episode. Here's some history of Star Trek. So here's the timeline. World War III happens. Which may or may not be connected to come before or after something known as the the eugenics wars, where they start making like genetic super beings that have like maximum ambition, and the genetic super beings take over and will attempt to take over the world. Like they're just like they attempt to make I don't know, like a Fourth Reich. And we don't know like a whole lot of details about that except for the part where genetic engineering for like basically everything is banned throughout the Federation, which leads to some kind of like weird stuff, like, oh, you can't even get like common defects that are easily treatable cured. It's a whole thing. They discuss it more on Enterprise. They discuss it more on Deep Space Nine, and it's kind of dumb, but whatever. Who cares? But okay. Final. So thoughts on the crystal on the crystal thing?
I mean, it was okay. I don't. These like last two episodes are really hard for me to like figure out like what exactly like the message they were trying to have, if any, because it's like are you trying to say that you can kidnap children within the Federation and it's totally okay just as long as you learn your lesson?
No, but they're not members of the Federation. They're aliens. They're aliens.
And then like it's like and then like the other one is it's just like you have to adhere to the paperwork, like you can't just not have like the guy was so certain that the surveyors for the planet were correct. It was just like they've never been wrong before.
Yeah,
it's never happened. How could it?
Like the message in the first one is definitely a lot more easy to piece together than the message. Like I guess what is the message in the second one? Like look for. I'd have to bullshit it. I think like
look harder.
What the? Oh my god! I just scared the fucking shit out of myself. I use a TV instead of a monitor, and this TV has something called a magic remote, and it's like kind of like a Wiimote, and it has its own cursor that you can like activate the menus with, and I was fiddling with my remote as I was talking, and I must have pressed the button that made the cursor come up, and then something just started moving on my screen without my controller getting a thing. I just started freaking out, like, oh god, there's a ghost on my screen.
Jesus Christ.
It genuinely fucking scared me. Oh my god. So that's home soil. What do you think? What do you think of these episodes? I know it's been a minute. What do you think of these?
They're
episodes
getting better.
Quality-wise?
They're getting better.
Weirdly.
It's not awful. Like, it's not terrible.
Oh,
they're getting better.
Something I only remember this like while we were talking earlier. I thought this episode, and maybe I'm also mixing this up with like an episode of TOS. We're talking about home soil, the one with the crystal. I thought that like it wasn't like crystals. It was like an atom. It was like a single atom that was alive, and the atom was really strong, like it had like proportional strength of an ant or something, but then condensed down exponentially, so it could like pick someone up and throw them or something. And I think I'm combining and that was the thing that they were fighting, this like a really strong like single atom that's alive, and I think I'm combining like an ancient cartoon that I watched as a child, an episode of the original series, and then also this episode.
Probably. I mean, like I said, the episodes are getting better, but they're not like great.
Yeah.
They're not.
Like good in comparison. I mean, like how God, how on fucking earth are you not going to be able to top the racism episode, the sex murder episode, the sex planet murder episode, like there's the femdom planet. Like there's a lot of just truly awful episodes in this season, as everyone knows.
Oh yeah.
But holy shit, some quality. I thought that the first good episode of The Next Generation is the the one that is embarrassingly the Iran Contra affair.
Yeah, I know you thought that. I know.
I did.
know you thought that one.
I did genuinely like the drama of that one, but I think like the first like acceptable episodes of The Next Generation are probably these two. The first, I think we can credit the writer of the first one. Went on to write a few of them. Is a woman named. Let's see, I got it right here. Let me. No, it was When the Bow Breaks. A woman named Hannah Louise Scherer. She later described it as her favorite episode. It was like, okay, well, quality writing, I guess. We know that there's like, it was like a nightmare behind the scenes where everyone's fucking miserable filming this shit, and I think we're seeing now like maybe the actors and the writers and everyone are kind of like falling into a rhythm, and that just kind of raises the general quality of everything. Like not everything's like super up in the air. But then again, I also know that, and of course, the what we see on Netflix, like the order on Netflix, isn't the actual order of filming. I have no fucking clue what the order of filming is, but it'll get worse soon. Like God,
That's what I'm hoping. Yes.
What is the fucking next episode of The Next Generation? Hold on, let me look up TNG season 1 episodes. What have we got to look forward to next? We got let's see, When the Bow Breaks, the battle. Which was the battle? Oh, that was the one with the orb that's controlling Picard. Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah. No, that one was good.
Oh, the next one. Oh God, oh God. The next two that we're going to be doing is Wesley Crusher taking the Starfleet entrance exam. And it's Picard. That's the B. I don't remember the B plot of this at all. That's gonna be fucking miserable. And the one after that is the first Klingon episode. It's the first Worf episode. That's gonna be an interesting one.
I'm stoked. I'm excited. I can't wait to watch Worf get his ass kicked.
We're gonna learn a lot about the Klingons. We're gonna learn a lot about. This is wow. I am kind of dreading this next one. I remember this fucking Wesley episode. It's gonna suck. But then after that, on the on the episode after the next episode of Left Track, look forward to classic episode, The Arsenal of Freedom and Symbiosis. We'll talk about that some other time. How do we?
Yeah, I'm Zotz, and we'll do this all again.
I'm gonna. Don't worry, I will absolutely fucking massacre. Just really, just the hedge trimmers, just fucking cut this up. I'm gonna and specifically.
I expect this to be 30 minutes. I expect this to be a 30-minute episode on YouTube.
That's very generous. It's gonna be 15 minutes. 15 minutes, 10 minutes of it are just gonna be things that just I re-recorded myself. But that's Left Trek, folks. Real quick. Okay, Zotz. Let me and maybe when we have Brian back. Oh, by the way, Brian disappeared at the end here. The cricket unfortunately got him. We're not aware of their status.
Yeah, the cricket really took really the Cuba fever. I forgot the fuck it's called.
Havana syndrome.
Havana syndrome.
Unfortunately, Brian has become a victim of Havana syndrome and wasn't present for the end of this. But you can find Brian on twitch.tv/trashcan1312. Also, same name on Twitter. I can be found at LeftTrek, youtube.com/LeftTrek. We have our own. There's been a lot of shit that's happened since we recorded. We have our own fucking URL now because we have 100 subscribers. Yay, 100 subscriber celebration.
Oh wow, hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, congratulations to us. Look forward to an episode. I don't know when exactly I'm going to release these in what order, because I'm going to be putting out our first premium episode of extras with our first recording of Nicole. And then also me and Brian talking a bit about the Maquis. Look forward to the Maquis thoughts. They will be introduced in season 6, so we're getting close. We are also officially more than halfway. Well, I think we've been more than halfway done with season 1 for a while now. But we're really progressing. We're really getting through this shit. Holy fuck!
Surprising,
shocking, genuinely. And hopefully to everyone listening to this, we will be all looking forward to potentially weekly uploads. We're gonna try to be getting on a schedule. I'm on Vyvanse now, so that I can actually like work on stuff productively. It's genuinely changed my life, folks. If you suspect that you are a victim of Havana syndrome, also known as ADHD, get yourself a fucking psychiatrist because my life has changed now that I'm actually medicated. It is great.
Yeah, wild how that works.
It's incredible. Credit of course to the future Left Trek guests, if I ever get the cojones to actually message them on Twitter. Thought Slime, big credit to Thought Slime for inspiring me to go get some help myself for ADHD. And I love you. Bye.
Bye.